Well, our fans cannot complain about boring basketball. So that was a hell of a game, you guys. I'm looking at the points from, breaking it down. Turnover 16-16, points in the paint, basically even. Second chance points, exactly the same. Fast break, exactly the same. Difference was the bench. And I know Janiyah was here, and she made the difference. We put her in basically because, they were being physical with us, and we were kind of playing a little soft, and she's fearless. She's fearless and went in and played like it. But it was a hell of a game. Well played by both teams. That's going to prove to be a big win for us, I think.
When you put someone like Janiyah in, I don't think she had scored since January 1st. She hits that first three. Does that just give you okay, let's let this play out a little bit and see where it goes? At what point did you think that she might have 12 in?
Yeah, well, you don't think that, but we needed something, right? We were struggling a little bit, and she's going to give you that. I mean, that's kind of how she plays, and quite frankly, a couple of the other players that normally play that spot were in a significant minus tonight, so we felt like, well, we got to do something, and she happened to be the right choice. So good on her. I'm really happy for her, proud of her, and I mean, it takes everybody. And we talk about it all the time. You just never know when it's your turn. So be ready. And tonight it was Janiyah. Next game it could be somebody else.
Coach, you said that the turnovers ended out about the same, but they were significantly down in the second half from the first half.
Yep.
Did you say anything to them, or was it more of just we're going to keep going out and playing our game until,
Well, yeah, we did talk about halftime. I've used this saying 1,000 times, I think, in my coaching career. The most aggressive team usually gets the calls. And so we were, on our heels. They were by far the aggressors, and that's why they got a ton of calls. It's when you're playing soft and you're hesitant that things don't go your way. So second half, we just kind of flipped the script, so to speak. We were a lot more aggressive, got downhill. Katie played a heck of a lot better second half than she played the first half. He's had a nice game all the way around. The one thing that you look on that stat sheet that a lot of people will miss, but it was hugely important tonight on Ahisa's stat line, she drew 9 fouls. 9 fouls. That is a skill like any other. And got their big kids in foul trouble, got 1 or 2 of them out. I can't remember how many ended up fouling out, but that's getting it done. Again, that's not a stat that people are going to, look at all that much, but she did a hell of a job there.
I know we've talked about Katie's up and downs all year. She had her ups and downs in this game, but the last 340, I think she scored 10 points. What was different just about her approach in the final couple minutes?
It's who she is. It's how she's driven, You got to live sometimes with the good and the bad, but, she's a great player, and in the end, you just got to trust her that she'll make the right plays, and she made a couple of, like you said, the 10 points, but the little floater, we didn't really have a whole lot going on in that possession, and for her to knock that down, that was a huge bucket. I think it put us up 6 at that point. That was huge. I just was disappointed in our defense, quite frankly. We kept fouling them at the other end, and give them credit. They were aggressive, but we certainly didn't want to put them at the free throw line. So we'll work on that and get a little bit better at it next time.
You've obviously had a lot of close games this year, and you've been on both sides of them.
Yep.
What would you say goes into games like this to making sure you come out on the winning side that obviously hasn't been the case every game?
Yeah, well, 2 days a week we spend time on situations. So we put a certain time on the board. This team's up by 1 or 2 or 4. We're down 4 with 48 seconds to go. So we replay all the time end of games scenarios. So we're getting a little bit better at that. But that's the Big Ten, man. Every night. You just got to bring it. It's crazy, but I think in the end it'll make us a lot better.
How much of a relief was it to have Mia back in the second half? I don't even think I saw her on your bench in the second quarter or so.
Yeah, no, she went into the locker room, and then they reevaluated her at halftime, and she said she was good to go. I saw her in the weight room kind of doing some slides and things like that, but yeah, I thought it really helped. Then we were able to play her for an extended period instead of kind of the normal rest, because we figured, well, what the hell, man, you rested the whole first half. So just having her on the court was big. Stat-wise, didn't have a huge game, but, made some good plays when we really needed it. And I thought defensively she did a good job.
I know you've talked about this a couple times in the last couple months, but just the evolution of Ahisa's offensive game and how she's able to, I think this was the third 20-point game in her last 5 or so, to be able to do that against consistently bigger competition than her, how is she able to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, seriously, that's a great question. I won't go Mick Cronin on you and say that's the worst question. No, that was a great question. I don't know. And like the other night against Washington, they were bigger and more physical, and she struggled with that. If they're not stronger than her or, physical, sometimes slider post players, she can kind of have her way. But, yeah, she's just got to be creative and crafty. It's like, Markley, Adrian Dantley is probably a good comparison. At that height, 6'3", and he was able to play around the basket and score. You just have to be crafty. What we're trying to do is get her the ball a lot more 15 feet and in and letting her kind of create that way because she's a willing passer and a good passer. What'd she have tonight? 4 assists. Yeah, so we're trying to get her in a little bit more space instead of just posting up at the block, especially if they might be a little slower in the post or a little bit too big and strong for her inside. So, you just kind of evolve, and she's, I think, responding. So,
How big was this one, do you think, psychologically? It was like you're about to go on the road, you can end a season here, and if you started it with 3 straight losses, that things kind of can snowball. What was kind of the key of just getting this one?
Huge. And again, to do it in a close fashion, down 10, fourth quarter, and to come back. Our kids just have that belief. We're never out of it, you guys. I don't care what the score is or what the time is. But yeah, you're right. It's never easy on the road. We're playing 2 of the teams that haven't won as many games as some of the others, but they're going to be really good on the road. I mean, that's life, right? And it also gets us back to 500 here at home, which is important and sets up a big game that I know our kids are really going to be looking forward to against UW to end the season. But yeah, just that good taste in your mouth on that long trip to Indiana. I don't even know who we play first.
It's Indiana.
Okay. Indiana. All right, you guys. Thanks for getting those guys in first.